In this video, I'm going to show you how to take a struggling system of client and project management and turn it into a fully automated and streamlined workflow that can scale as your company does. We're going to go over how to automate your onboarding process so your clients receive personalized forms and emails without you having to do anything. How to generate your Google Drive folder hierarchy, which tends to be a very complicated process if you're doing it manually. And how to keep every project organized, tracked, and delivered with zero manual effort. If you've been stuck juggling spreadsheets or a very messy ClickUp or Asana or Notion workspace, this video will hopefully change everything for you. This video is sponsored by nobody because I'm not balling like that, but here we go. So the very first thing that we want to do when downloading these templates is we want to go into setup space right here, and we want to go ahead and save these two as our own templates. So we want to go here on the three dots, click templates, save as, and go ahead and save the client project template and the client ops template and just save them as their name. So save client project template as client project template and save client ops template as client ops template here. Make sure both of those are saved before you get started. So once we're getting started, we're gonna go ahead and kick off in our CRM folder inside the operations space in our sales and onboarding, because this is where our clients are coming in. So let's go ahead and go to our list view. I'm gonna move that over there, and I'm going to throw a test task in here. Now, the way this workflow is designed, we want a questionnaire to kick off the onboarding sequence when a client is moved into the onboarding part of the workflow, but we don't want them to be onboarded if they are not approved. We don't have to sign contract, whatever the stipulation is. Now, right now, I just have a checkbox that says contract signed, but you can easily automate out the sending of a contract and then have it automatically move once the contract is signed, but that's not included in this workflow, but it can be pretty easily added in. So what we need to do is go into our Zapier account. Remember, you have to have a ClickUp Business Plus account and a Zapier Teams account. So we're going to create our first Zap, and this one is going to be send onboard questionnaire. All right, our trigger is going to be catching a webhook from ClickUp. And we're going to go ahead and copy that webhook. And then right here in this automation that's already built for us, we are going to edit it and paste in that webhook. Now you can see the stipulations here. When a task is moved into onboarding and the contract sign box is checked and there's not already a questionnaire associated and there's not already an account associated, then send the webhook. We're going to go ahead and save that. And then we need to run our test. Now remember, this automation is sending a questionnaire to our client to get them started. So after we do that webhook, we're going to go ahead and check off that this is approved or the contract is signed, and we're going to kick it into onboarding. And now we go to our Zap and we click test and we wait for that task to come in. So there it is. There's that task. Now step number 2 from catching a webhook from ClickUp is always going to be finding that task. So we're going to add a ClickUp step and we're going to say find task by ID. We're going to select the account that you have authenticated and we're going to slash short key and we're going to type in payload ID, and we're going to drop in the ID of the ClickUp task that we're working with. Click continue, click test, and that's going to go find that task. Find sales onboarding card. All right. The next thing we want to do is send a questionnaire. So this is going to be send onboard questionnaire. The connector here is Gmail. The action event is send email. And then again, go ahead and select your authenticated account. Click continue. R2 is going to be our custom field right here. So we have these custom fields that are going to be filled in. So let's go ahead and fill those in so that we have some data to work with here. So I'm just going to put in my info, Joe at smartclick.systems. Contract value, let's go ahead and set that. Questionnaire is going to be left blank for now. First name, Joseph, last name, Zapier. Alrighty. Now let's come back here and let's refetch that task so we can get the most up-to-date information from those custom fields. And now in our to field here, we're going to do slash to bring in data from previous steps. And we're just going to search email value. And right here we have contact email value, and we're just going to drop that in. And then our from email is just going to be the name of your business. And the from name, you can make whatever you want. So we're just going to call this Smart Click Studios, but it could be whatever the name of your editing agency or video agency is. Reply to, if you want a different email, so if you have like a support email, if this email isn't checked, you can have people reply to that email to a different address. But for our case, we're just going to have a reply to the same one, so we're going to leave that blank. Subject, we're going to say welcome, and then personalizer, we're just going to drop in first name here. All right. We're going to change this to an HTML body type, and then we're going to grab an HTML template to use for the email. This is the one that I use, but you can easily have ChatGPT make you one with your logo and everything in the HTML. Now, this email is sending out an onboarding questionnaire that's going to be customized to your clients. So what we need to do is we need to make that form. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and grab the form link that's supposed to go right here. All right, so we're going to go back to our workspace. We're going to jump down to space, setup space template. We're going to go down to our forms, to our onboarding questionnaire, and to our onboarding form. Now, right here, this is the onboarding form that we want to send to our customers. And there's a little secret field here called onboarding card ID, which will not be seen by your customers, but you can use to encode the ID of the customer into the form so it's unique to them. We're just going to take this link, we're going to copy it right up here, and we're going to jump back into Zapier, and we're going to paste it right between these quotation marks. There we go. And these little X's right here, we need to replace with the ID of this task. So we're going to hit our little plus sign up here. We're going to drop in the ID of the task for it right there. All right, that's going to encode that form with the unique ID of this task. We're going to go ahead and click continue, and then we're going to go ahead and test that step. All right, so I'm going to pull in the email account that it was sent to right here. So this is what the email looks like when it came in. It's got the logo, it's got a little welcome, and then when I click start questionnaire, it's bringing me right to that form, and I can go ahead and fill it out. So that's the desired outcome that we want. So we'll go ahead and drop that out for the time being, and we will jump back into this. So this is working well. Now we're going to add our last step of this automation, which is to update that sales card with the onboarding questionnaire info. So we're going to do ClickUp as our last step here in this automation, and we're going to say update task as the action. Make sure you're using your authenticated account. And then this part is a little bit redundant, but get used to doing it if you're not using a template for this. Where it says workspace, we're not going to use static. Okay, we're going to say custom, and then we're going to search team ID, which is your workspace ID. If you're working with Zapier and ClickUp, one of the things that can be frustrating is that you don't know that workspace ID is team ID, but that's what it is. So you're going to drop in team ID. It'll populate space. Same thing. You click the three dots, select custom, search space ID, grab that from step 2, select folder, click custom, select folder ID from step 2. Oops. List, select custom, select list ID from step 2, and task, we're just going to drop in that task ID after clicking custom from step 2. There we go. Now we are working with this task right here. Now what we want to do is we want to update our custom field to show that the questionnaire has been sent. So we're going to mark that as true. And then we're going to insert the link to the questionnaire in the task. Now, the reason that we do that is just in case they say they didn't get the questionnaire, the email for some reason went to spam or something. We want to have that unique link to that customer's questionnaire. So we're going to drop that in here. So once again, we're going to grab our form link from over here inside of our setup. We're going to copy that. We're going to drop it in here. We're going to back out those X's at the end of that URL. And then we are going to drop in the ID of the task. And now when we test this step, when we go back here to our sales and onboarding and look at our test task, we can see the questionnaire sent box has been checked, and we have the link to the questionnaire right here. So if we were to click, we can see that's the unique link based on this little piece right here for the customer. So for some reason they didn't get that onboarding form, it's okay. You can just copy this link and send it to them an email or wherever you want to. You can send it from right here, however you want to do it. Okay, moving right along. Let's go ahead and publish that. The next automation and workflow that we want to get cracking here is when a questionnaire is complete, we want to create the account inside of ClickUp and kick off the next sequence, which is the second onboarding email, which invites them to go ahead and upload any brand kit or logos, assets, things like that to a shared Google Drive folder, and it's all automated. So let's jump back into our Zapier folder here, and we're going to create a new Zap. And this one's going to be called questionnaire complete to new account. All right. We're going to go ahead and make the trigger, webhooks by Zapier, catch hook, continue, and we're going to go ahead and copy this webhook. All right, so where this goes is in our forms right here in onboarding questionnaire. This is where we set up our next automation. This automation is kind of already ready for you to go here. So you click your little lightning bolt, you click manage. Right here, you're going to edit this step, and you're going to paste in your webhook that you just copied. And this is questionnaire complete new account. And this is when task is created, call webhook. So this is kind of an important point. What kicks off the next set of actions is the questionnaire being completed. So just remember that when the customer completes their questionnaire, it's what's kicking off the next set of actions. So we're going to go ahead and click save. Whenever a customer submits a form here, or when it submits their onboarding form, it adds as a task to this list, and that's what kicks off that automation. So let's go ahead and give it a test. Let's go back to our email that we were sent over here. We'll say start questionnaire. Company name, we'll say SmartClick Systems. Contact email. Phone number. Let's just do a fake one. Not that I don't want all of you people calling me. And then billing email, we'll jump in there as well. Now, these fields that I have are just the most common fields that I see when people ask for onboarding forms. You can definitely customize what fields are in your particular onboarding form. This is just what's common. So that's what we're going to use for now. Alrighty, we're going to go ahead and submit that. Once we submit that, we can see a task drops into this list right here, and that is going to call that webhook. And now if we click test, there is our onboarding form right there. Beautiful. So now our second step, as always, is going to be find that ClickUp task. Task ID is going to be the payload from the webhook. Go ahead and test the step, and while that's testing, we're just going to rename this to get questionnaire. All right, we can see that it's found the task, and now we can move along. So our next step is going to be finding that onboarding sales card, okay? And we're going to be adding a ClickUp step. This one is also going to be find task by ID. And then this time, we are pulling the ID of the sales card from the questionnaire that we secretly encoded in the URL in the last step. Okay, so this field right here was auto-populated in the last step. That's what we did when we were copying and pasting that form link. So this is what we want to grab right here, our onboarding card ID. So we're going to do / and we're going to search onboarding card ID value. And that's this one right here. Click continue and test. All right, we successfully found our sales card, and now we're moving right along. Next step is going to be creating their account. Create account. We're just renaming that Zap step so it's clear what we're doing when we come back to look at this. We're going to now select the workspace we're working in by going to custom. We're going to do / and we're just going to search team ID, and you can really select any of these. And then we're looking for space. So now we're going to click in here. All right, we're not doing a custom value, we're doing a static value, and we're going to select our operation space. We're going to select our folder, which is CRM. We're going to select our list, which is client accounts. All right, so now that they've passed onboarding, they're out of our sales pipeline. Now they actually get an account in our CRM where we can see their information and kind of manage their account. All right, so that task name, we're just going to name it their company name, which is the name of the task on the questionnaire. So that is smartclick.systems. Right there, we're going to drop that in. We're going to set our task status to active, because they're an active client. And we are going to check create folder structure, and we're going to check create folder structure, and then we're going to go ahead and continue, skip, and then test. So this is creating their actual account, all right, in our client accounts. So there we go. We see it. It's in the active status. We can see it here as well. and all of these are blank except for create folder structure. Now we want to also add in the details from that onboarding questionnaire now that this is working. So we're going to jump back into our task here to the configure tab, and we're going to go ahead and drop in everything that we got from the onboarding questionnaire. So that's going to be last name, value from the questionnaire, not the sales card. And the reason we do that is because in the questionnaire, we want to get the primary contacts information for the portal experience. Okay. That's the important part. The questionnaire is where we're getting the email, the person in contact. If you're working with like an enterprise company, doing video editing for them or content creative or whatever it is, sometimes they use different emails for this stuff. So that's the contact, last name, primary contact, first name. We're going to search billing email. So / billing email value. And then contact email value. There we go. We're going to drop in our contact phone number. And now we're going to link our questionnaire to this account. All right, this is really, really important. We want to connect the questionnaire to that account. That way, if we ever need to go back and look at that questionnaire, we can. All right, so we're going to say questionnaire, we're going to say custom, and we're just going to drop in the ID of the questionnaire. There we go. Now we can delete out this example because it's going to create a new one when we test it again. So we're going to retest. There we go. There's our new account. There's all the info from the questionnaire. And we can see over here in related that questionnaire is now added as related. So now we can click on this and see the actual results of the questionnaire and then easily jump back to our account. All right. Last step in this automation is going to be updating the sales card with those details. All right. So we're going to add our ClickUp step as our 5th step. Update task. Again, we're going to go custom team ID. Whoop, little bug there. Team ID. All right, now space. We're looking for space ID from the sales card right here because that's what we're updating, not these ones. Space ID from the sales card. Folder ID from the sales card. List ID from the sales card. And then task ID from the sales card. And now all we're going to do is we are updating the questionnaire field as well as the account field because we have a questionnaire and an account that can now be associated with that sales card. We're just doing this for tracking purposes if we ever want to bounce back and forth between their sales card, their account card, and their questionnaire card. So we're going to do questionnaire add, custom, and we're just going to drop in their questionnaire ID. And then we're going to jump up to account add. We're going to add in their account ID right there. I'm going to go ahead and click skip and then test. And now when we jump up to our sales and onboarding, and we look at our task, we can see now here's the questionnaire associated with the sales card as well as here's the account associated with the sales card. All right, so we can bounce back and forth between the questionnaire, the sales card, and the account if we need to. Just keeps everything linked so you can track everything. There's no floating tasks that have no association. That's what we want to avoid. So this automation is now complete. We're going to go ahead and click publish. And that automation is ready to go. So let's jump back to ClickUp for our next automation, which is creating the master folder structure. Okay. Now what this is going to do is it's going to create the folder in ClickUp, the lists in ClickUp, and all of the folders in Google Drive that you are going to need. Okay. So this is going to create a master folder for you and this client. It's going to create a folder within that master folder to hold all of your projects. It's also going to create a brand kit folder so that when they first get started and as you go along, if there's changes to logos or they need to update the brand kit, they can always drop it into that shared folder. So this is going to create your whole Google Drive structure for you. Okay. And you will never have to hopefully go into Google Drive to create anything ever again. So how this kicks off is when create folder structure is checked by our last step. That's actually going to kick off our next automation, which is creating the master folder structure. So let's go ahead and jump over to our automations tab right here, where it says create master folder structure. We're going to open that up, and we're going to go back to Zapier. We're going to go into our folder here, and we're going to create a new Zap, and this one's going to be called create master folder structure. First event, you guessed it, webhooks by Zapier. We're going to catch a hook, jump over, copy that hook, paste it right here where it says webhook.com, and we're going to click save. So now when that box is checked by our last step, it will kick off this automation. You can also manually check it if for some reason it doesn't work to kick off this automation as well. So we're going to uncheck it and then recheck it. We listen for it, and there it is. We're going to go ahead and continue. Step 2, as always, is find that ClickUp task. Payload ID. Press the step to find it. We're going to rename this to find CRM account. Next is the series of folders that we're going to be creating. So we're going to create all the Google Drive folders, all the ClickUp folders and lists, and then we're going to update that CRM account with all those. So let's get cracking. This is one of the longer automations in this series. This one's going to be creating client master folder. This is going to be create folder. Select your account. So we're going to select our parent folder. Going to select editing agency as a parent folder. Folder name is going to be the name of the account, which is SmartClick Systems, master folder. Going to go ahead and click create. And let's just bring in our Google Drive to make sure it actually creates right here. And we can see there it is. So we are good to go. On to our next step, which is adding a specific sharing preference only for that user, only for that contact user. That's important. We don't want any of this stuff shared with just anybody unless that's specifically what you want to do. But I found most people want permissions set. So we're going to select file sharing preference. Add sharing preference as the title of this step. If I could spell, that would be great. Okay. File ID is going to be the ID of this folder right here. We can leave drive blank. Sharing preference, we want to select to specifying an email address. And then the email address we want to share it with is going to be our contact. Right there, our contact email. Sharing role, we're going to do editor because we want them to be able to upload stuff to that folder. And test. And we're going to move on to the next one, which is creating the brand kit folder. Event is going to be create folder. We're going to rename this to create brand kit folder. Our parent folder is going to be our master folder right here. So we're going to go over to custom and we're going to select our ID from that step. Folder name is going to be the name of the account from step 2 right here with brand kit. Click continue, skip, and test. Alrighty. After brand kit, we're going to do the actual project folder. Now, this is the project folder is where all of the projects are going to be stored. So they have a bunch of video projects, a bunch of whatever type of delivery projects you're working on. Those are all going to be stored here. All right, we're going to call this create projects folder. Create event or create folder is going to be the event. And then this time, our parent folder is going to be our client master folder, not the brand kit folder. Okay, so we want to, that happens a lot. We don't want to make it this one. It's still the master folder. Okay, is its parent. Folder name is going to be projects. Okay, it's the account name followed by projects. Test step. This one is going to be where we've created our project folder. That is the last one we do. So the last drive step there, step 6, is creating the projects folder. Now we want to start creating all the ClickUp folders that we need. So we're going to say ClickUp. First step is creating a folder for that client. Action event is create folder. Okay, workspace is going to be team ID here. You can grab the team ID from anything here. Space now we manually select, okay? And that's going to be client delivery space. Folder name is going to be our client name here, followed by projects or delivery, however you want to do it. I normally do projects. And then our template is going to be the folder template that we saved from earlier. So if you haven't done that yet, go ahead and do that. So over here in our templates, our client folder template, we want to go ahead and save this. Even though there's nothing in it, we still want to save this as a template. Go ahead and click save. And then over here, when we click template, we're going to go ahead and refresh results. And now we see our client folder template here. That's the one we want to use. So we name it. We want to click continue and test. And our folder has been created now. Now we're going to create the editing project list as well as the ops project list. So underneath this, we're going to say ClickUp for this step. We're going to say create a list. Workspace is going to be team ID. Grab any of these. Space is going to be client delivery space, or you can grab the space from the folder here. So folder space, because it's in the same space as that folder. And then folder ID, we're going to grab from this step because we want to put it in the folder we just created. The template that we're going to use is our client project list template. Let's go ahead and make sure we name this step. Create projects or editing, whichever one you want to call it. It could be an editing list or projects list. I call it projects. Name is going to be our account name followed by projects. Click continue and test. We've created that list. Now we're going to create our operations list. Grab that team ID from anywhere. It keeps bugging out. I'm not sure why Zapier is doing that. Space. We want to grab the space ID from our folder. Okay. We want to grab our folder ID from the folder it belongs in right here. Template is going to be our ops template. Okay. Client ops list template. List name is going to be that client followed by ops. Make sure we name the step, create ops list, click continue, and test. I normally click skip test and then test just because that's habit for me, but you don't have to click skip. You can just go right to test. And then our last step is to take all of that information that we just created, all those folders, all of those Google Drives, and we want to update it back into our account CRM. Okay, we want all of these fields to be populated. So our last step is going to be a ClickUp step. And it's going to be update task. Now the task we want to update is this one right here, this CRM task. So we're going to do workspace. We're going to say team ID of our CRM task, space ID of our CRM task, folder ID of our CRM task, and list ID of our CRM task. Last but not least, the actual ID of that task. And now we can go through here and add in all the different IDs. So client folder ID, this is that ClickUp folder. We're going to pull that from number 7, step 7 right here. And then our client master folder, our G drive, is client master folder right here. We're going to drop in the alternate link. Client ops list, we're going to pull from ops list. Right there, we're going to drop in the ID. Client projects folder, the G drive one. We're going to drop in our projects folder. Brand kit folder, same thing. Going to drop in the link to the brand kit folder. And then we're going to drop in our client project list ID, which is our project list ID right there. So now we have all of our ID fields filled out. When we click test step, it should update this task with all those fields. All right, let's take a look at it. So we've got our ID for ops, our ID for our project list for ClickUp, our client folder ID for ClickUp. So our ClickUp folder IDs are in there, as well as our Google Drive links. So now anytime that we need to grab assets or brand kit items that this client has uploaded, rather than going to Google Drive and trying to find it, all we have to do is go to our SmartClick systems or the account right here for that client and jump in and grab their brand kit folder right here. All right. I didn't share access with myself, so I can't see it, but your client will be able to see it, and you will too. So that automation is working. Now, the last thing that we want to do in this is we want to kick off the next automation, which is sending our welcome email, okay, which is different from our questionnaire, like onboarding email. Similar to the last step, how we checked automatically create the folder structure, we want to have the box for send out the onboarding email checked automatically as well. So we're going to say welcome email, not onboarding email. We already sent that one. We're going to say send welcome email. And after all that's done, we click continue, we retest to make sure it's checked. There we go. And we publish. All right. So now let's look at what we've gotten to so far. We've gotten our client from sales and onboarding. We've sent them their questionnaire by email. They've filled out their unique questionnaire. That questionnaire has created their account inside of ClickUp. That account is now associated with a delivery folder, which we are going to need to refresh to see. So let's do that. So now they have a delivery folder inside of the client delivery space, and that folder has their unique editing or projects list and their unique operations list. Now, you might be wondering why 2 lists for each client. Most people don't need 2 lists for each client, but at the end of the day, we end up sharing most of the time this list with that client so they can see the status of their projects that are being worked on, and the operations list is normally kept internally. So we just want to have 2 lists there. That way, if we want to add lists to this folder later on, if that client has more workflows they're doing with you, past just some kind of editing workflow, we want to be able to have that inside of their client folder. So we don't need both of these, but I put them both in here because most people end up needing multiple workflows per client. So the folder's created, both lists are created, and now we're pretty much ready to go with this client. We just have a couple other things that we need to do. Now that this automation is complete, we need to send our next automation off, which is going to be the welcome email. All right, this email is going to send to them saying, hey, thanks for filling out your onboarding questionnaire. Go ahead and upload your brand items. Go ahead and upload your assets, your logos, all those things. So we're going to create a new Zap. This one is going to be called send welcome email, collect assets. Step 1 is going to be our webhook. We're going to copy that webhook, and we're going to go back to ClickUp, and we're going to go into our client accounts list, and we're going to go ahead and configure the second automation here, which is sending the welcome email. And this automation is triggered when that send welcome email box is checked, which we check automatically in the last step. So you should really never have to manually check this. This is just in case they want the onboarding email again, or the welcome email again, or they didn't get it, or you want to resend it multiple times. So we're going to paste in our webhook there, click save. We're going to jump into our test here, uncheck send welcome email, and recheck send welcome email. Come back to Zapier and listen for it. There it is, continuous selected record. As always, step 2 is finding that ClickUp task from step 1. I could get into why we always have to do this second step, but unless you care about JavaScript object notation, then you probably don't really care as long as it works. Find CRM account. Payload ID and test step. Great, we got their account, and now we're just sending them an email. And this email is just going to contain the link to that Google Drive form. So we're going to say send email from email is here. And we're going to go to contact email value. From we can leave as us, obviously. From name, you can name this whatever you want. You can even put a little emoji in there if you want to. And then subject, let's get started. We're going to do HTML as the body type. And then again, I just have an email template that I use for this welcome email. We just paste in that template. And in my welcome email template, there's just a fake Google Drive link here. So we just want to replace that right here. It's going to say ref, and then it's going to have drive.google.com. We're going to go right here, and we're going to replace that with our Google Drive link. Okay. And this is our brand kit folder value. And here is the Google Drive link that was created that is now going to get sent to your customer for them to upload to. All right, so we're going to go and click continue, and we're going to test that step, and I'll drag my email back in here so you can see what that looks like. So here's the email that I just got. We have, let's get started. You're all set. Thanks for launching, blah, blah, blah. Go ahead and upload brand assets. And here's that Google Drive folder. And we can see that it's our SmartClick Systems brand assets. I have access to my master folder here. Here's my projects folder. Here's my brand kit. So this link is just going to bring me right to my brand kit folder where I can upload my logos and stuff if I'm the customer. Unfortunately, that's all we got to do for this step. We go ahead and publish it. And your welcome emails are now ready to go. So up to this point, we've gotten a client from sales to onboarding to account creation, questionnaire sending out, questionnaire filling, automatically creating all of the folder structure, sending out the welcome email, and creating all the Google Drive folders that client is going to need to have access to. The next automation that we need to create is whenever a client submits a new project in their editing workflow, we want to have a Google Drive folder automatically created for them to upload their raw footage to, and a Google Drive folder automatically created for your editors or designers or whoever it is to drop the finished assets to so that it gets delivered to the client. And so instead of creating an automation here at the folder or list level, we're going to create an automation at the space level. That way we don't have to create a bunch of automations and a bunch of lists. So we're going to jump in here, add another zap. This zap is new editing project, create drive folders, send drive folder to client for upload. So we're doing two things. We're automatically creating the Google Drive folders for the raws and for the final, and then we're emailing them the link for the raws folder so they can go ahead and upload the footage or whatever it is they need to upload for that project. Trigger, you guessed it, it's going to be webhooks by Zapier. I'm going to go ahead and copy that. And we're going to go into our space. Remember, there's already an automation here waiting for you. And for this, I have it set to when status changes from backlog to to-do, go ahead and create that folder hierarchy. But you can have this trigger however you want it to. Maybe for you, it's a checkbox. But for me, it's whenever we move an item from backlog to to-do, it goes ahead and creates the Google Drive folder, sends out the email, etc. So it's from any status to to-do. Task type has to be editing project. That way we're not sending out folders that are in the ops list or anything like that because that's a default task type for that list. We're going to paste in our webhook from our Zap. Click Save. Now we're ready to go. So we're going to go into our SmartClick Systems folder. We're going to drop in a test and we'll call this Talking Head About Automation. That's the name of our video. And so once we move this video into to do, it should send a webhook right here. And there it is. Continue with selected record. Step 2, find that record, find that task. Find project, test step. And now what we need to do is we need to find the information about that client from their CRM account. Okay, so we're going to do a find step to find their CRM account. Okay, and how we're going to do that is it's a ClickUp step. In the action event is going to be find most recent task right here. Okay. Workspace, we can just grab the team ID. And then space, we're going to manually select, so static select our operation space. Folder is CRM. All right, list is account. And we're going to search by their ClickUp list ID for that particular list. All right. You can do it by folder as well, but I'm going to search by list. So we're going to go here to client project list. Here we go. And we're going to put in the value of the list that our project was in. Okay. And that should return us the information on that client's CRM account. There it is. So return to Smart Click Systems, which is the CRM account. We're going to call this Find CRM Account. Now what we need to do is get the Google Drive folder ID of the projects folder we created earlier. Okay, and we're going to do a little code step here. And this is going to be Python. And we're going to paste in our Python code. Input data is going to be drive _link. And then we're going to drop in the drive link of the Google Drive project. So we're going to search project folder G Drive ID. Here we go. Client project folder G Drive value. And there's that Google Drive link. Okay, that's holding all their projects. And what we're doing right now is we're creating a new Drive folder to put in that master projects folder for this project. We're going to click continue, and that's going to extract the folder ID. There we go, right there. Now we're going to create a new project folder for this task. We're going to drop it inside the main projects folder. All right, so this is going to be create new project folder. And just to be clear about why we're all doing this, we're doing this so that every time you create a new project for a client, it creates a new folder. And that folder holds the raws and the final for that project. So every project a client has gets its own Google Drive folder that's automatically created and shared with them. So this is create folder. The parent folder is going to be the one we just extracted with that little Python snippet. Right there. And we're going to name this the name of the task, the name of that project. And test step. So inside of that project, we want to create the raws folder. And the parent folder is going to be the one that we just created. The folder name is going to be the project, followed by raws. Continue, test. Next step is going to be creating the final folder. Create final folder. Action is create folder. Parent folder is going to be that one we created to hold these two. You're going to just grab that ID. Folder name, you could probably guess, is going to be the name of that project, followed by final. So if we go into our Drive folder, we can see that we have our editing agency. This is where everything for the editing agency is going to go. We have the client here, and that's Smart Click Systems. That's their master folder. Inside that, they have their brand kit where they can upload their logos. And inside their project folder is going to be all the different projects that they have. And for this, we only have one so far because we just created that project. So we have the Talking Head About Automations project. Inside that, we have the finals and the raws. So jumping back here, we've created the final folder. Now we want to update that project task in ClickUp with those details. So it's going to be step 8 is going to be a ClickUp step. We're going to say update task. We're going to update project with those links. Okay, so we want the team ID from the project, space ID from the project, again, not the CRM. I want the folder ID from the project, list ID from the project, task ID from the project. Now we can update all of those items. So our project folder right here, finals folder from right here. Remember, we're grabbing where it says alternate link. And then our raw folder, we're grabbing from here. Now, I like to keep timestamps in here. And the reason I do that is because if you're managing a large team of editors and big projects, you want to be able to keep tabs on, hey, what's the average time from a video submitted to approved, or a video submitted to a video delivered or a video approved to a video delivered. So I like to timestamp these things. So I'm going to just go ahead and add in date submitted. I'm going to say true because I want the time. And I'm going to pull in the time from the webhook. So I'll put in date, and that's that date time. Go ahead and hit test. And back here in our project, we should get an update of all those custom fields. There we go. So it says date submitted was today. Here is our different links for our different folders. And now this project is completely ready to go. We created a task, project task, an editing task, whatever you want to call it for your workflow. As soon as we move it into to-do, all those folders are going to be automatically created. And then the cherry on top is emailing the client with the RAWs folder so they can go ahead and upload that footage. Going to go send email. To address is going to be our contact email from our CRM account. Oops. From is going to be us, obviously. From name can be SmartClick Studios or whatever the name is of your company. Subject can be upload RAWs for insert project name. And we can just put please in front of it. Let's make it polite. Body type is going to be HTML, and we're just going to grab an HTML template that I've already made in GPT. So let's go ahead and paste in our HTML template. We want to personalize this a little bit, so we want to come down here. Hey there, thanks for requesting a video edit. We're excited to bring your content to life. To get started, please upload your raw footage for, and then quotation, and let's drop in the name of the video using the link below. And then we'll take the link below, and we're going to make that the RAWs link. Continue and test step. And let's go ahead and take a look at what that email looks like. Here we go. Time to upload your footage. To get started, please upload your raw footage for whatever the name of the video is, and then we click upload raw footage, and there we go. Now, if I'm the client, I just upload my RAWs here, and I'm done. We can go ahead and publish that. And now we are one automation away from being finished here. We want to add an automation that when a video is complete and approved, it automatically emails the final version to the client. So we're going to jump up here to the space. We're going to click the automations tab. We're going to click add automation. When this happens, we're going to select task only. And when task status changes from any to complete, then we want to email the client. So we're going to say send completion email to client. All right, so when status changes from any to complete and task type is editing project, then call webhook. So we're going to jump in here to Zap and do our final automation, which is send final delivery email. Trigger step, you guessed it, webhooks by Zapier. Triggers, catch a hook, grab the link to the webhook and paste it into the call webhook box. Go ahead and save that automation. Now we'll go into our test folder and we'll take this project here, this task, and we'll drop it into complete. And now we wait for the task, which just arrived. Step 2, as always, is find task by ID. Get project task. Drop in the payload. Continue, test. And then we're just going to do a nice Gmail step here. I'm going to say send email. Okay, 2. Oh, we forgot a step. We got to get that CRM account so that we can grab that client's contact email. We're going to do find most recent task. Workspace, we can grab the team ID. Space is going to be operations. Folder, it's going to be CRM. List, it's going to be our accounts list. There we go. And we're going to search it by our client project. Here we go. Client project ID is our list ID from step 2. Go ahead and find it. This is going to be called, this step is going to be called find CRM account. There we go. Now when we send this email, we have a contact email to send to. It's from us. And our subject is your video is complete. All right. HTML as always. Paste in a HTML template. And then we're just going to correct some stuff in our template. Your video is ready. So we've wrapped up your edit and it's ready for you to review and download. We're excited for you to see it. Let's say we've wrapped up your edit for quotations. Name of the project. And it's ready for you to review and download. And we're going to just swap out that Google Drive link for the finals link. So if we just search finals value, we're going to get our finals folder G Drive link for that project. I'm going to click continue and we're going to test that step. And then in our email, it should show. There it is. View final. And there is our final video. That's where it would be stored. So let's run that from the beginning, okay? So from the top, let's take a look at what this workspace can do. Let's go into our sales and onboarding and add a new client. We're going to call this new lead Big Corporation LLC. And let's go ahead and fill in some basic contact info for them. Contact email, joe@jfcventures.com. Contract value. First name for the contact is Joe. Last name. There we go. Let's go ahead and say we have a contract signed. And let's go ahead and move on to onboarding. That's going to kick off our automation that sends them the onboarding email. So let's take a look at that. So here we can see our onboarding email. Welcome to SmartClick. We were thrilled to help you on board. Our mission is to streamline your workflow, blah, blah, blah. Let's go ahead and start the questionnaire. All right. Big Company LLC is the name of our company we're doing video editing for. Contact email, phone number. All right, it sensed that was fake. 201-555-3333. Hopefully that's not someone's real phone number. Billing, if this is separate, again, this is where you could add in other automations for auto billing based on videos, but we'll just put in the same email address for right now. Primary contact name, primary contact last name, and our social media handles. There we go. So our client submits their onboarding form. And now in ClickUp, we're going to see that our questionnaire sent box is checked. We can see that their questionnaire has come in here. Big Company LLC. Now when we go into client accounts, we're going to see that Big Company LLC has been added in here. And now it's checked the create folder structure box. So now the automation is running to Google Drive and creating all the folders that we need for this client, and it's creating the folder in ClickUp and the client's lists in ClickUp as well. So that's all running right now. All right, so all that just finished up. So we can see that our Google Drive folders were created for this client. Our ClickUp folders and lists were also created for this client, and that send welcome email box just got checked. So now that welcome email just went out to the client. So let's go ahead and take a look. Here's our let's get started email. Thanks so much for filling out the questionnaire. We're one step closer to launching something incredible, blah, 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 copy. Now the client's going to go ahead and upload their brand assets. So we can upload whatever we need to upload here as the client. Let's just upload some random logo here. And now when we jump back to ClickUp, we can see that here Big Company LLC has been added as a folder instead of client delivery space. And if we refresh our ClickUp, we can see their lists have been created as well. So here's their editing list that we could share with the client, and then here's the operations list that we could use internally so the client doesn't see it. We can automate sharing this list with the client, but it's defaulted not to right now, but it's a pretty simple automation to add on. So now our whole structure has been created just by starting the onboarding process. Everything else has happened automatically based on that client filling out the questionnaire and responding to that first onboarding email. So now inside of Big Company LLC, when we go to start editing videos, let's go ahead and add a video for them into the backlog. So maybe this video is about Saratoga water. And when we're ready to start moving on that video, we're going to click throw it into to do. Putting it into to do is going to create all the drive folders for that piece of media for this whole editing project. All right, so we've dropped in our drive folder for the final, the drive folder for the whole project, and the drive folder for the raws. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. So we have the project folder for Saratoga Water. We have where the finals are going to go. We also have where the raws are going to go. It's very clear what's going on here. And we have our date submitted. And so now if I'm the editor and I go to the finals folder, I can go ahead and upload the final version of a video, whatever that might be. So let's say this is just the final version of some piece of creative we were doing for the client. We went ahead and uploaded that to the finals folder right there. Remember, we never have to go to drive.google.com. We never have to go to Google Drive to find folders or create them. They're always created automatically. Now we're going to drop this into complete, which will send an email to the client saying we've completed the video, and here's the drive link to view the final version. So if we jump into our email, we can see that we got the email to upload the raws. Now we've got an email that says our video is complete. Your video is ready. We've wrapped up your edit for Saratoga Water. It's ready for you to review and download. We're excited for you to see it. Click the link below to view your final video in Google Drive. And there it is. Like I said, there's lots of directions you can take this particular setup. One of the nice things about this is you can go into each list and view what's going on in the tasks in that list, or you can go to the space level and create the editing board view that shows you all of the tasks across all of the lists. If you want to see all of your client editing tasks across all of your client lists, it's all right there. If you made it this far into the video, congratulations, because that was probably one of the more brutal watches you have ever done on YouTube. But if you managed to set that all up, now you have a fully automated system that takes your clients from onboarding all the way to asset delivery. You don't have to chase forms, create folders, or be messing around with a lot of email back and forth. Drop a comment below if you got stuck on anything, or if there was a part of this video that was particularly challenging or didn't make sense. Honestly, at this point, if you are still here, I'm just crazy impressed that you made it this far. So you should give yourself a pat on the back for even watching a YouTube video for this long and listening to me yap about Zapier and ClickUp for like an hour and a half. If you are interested in getting ClickUp set up for you, you can always grab time on my calendar at smartclick.systems, and I will see you on the next video, which hopefully won't be an hour and a half long and cause you to want to drive your car off a cliff by the time you're done. Bye.